Hello Manchester United fans, it's Sam Hutchison here outside Old Trafford yet again, but this time we're talking transfers. Hello Manchester United fans, I've identified 4 positions that Manchester United might need to improve come the summer. These are the positions that Erik ten Hag might look to improve, and they are striker, goalkeeper, right back and midfielder. Striker's the big one, so look forward to that. But in net, I think David Raya is probably the best option. Erik ten Hag wants a keeper who can play out from the back. At Ajax, that was sort of what his team and his foundations of his team were built on. He wanted a goalkeeper who could play out of the back and sort of make himself at home as part of that defence rather than as a goalkeeper. He wanted them to link up with the centre-halves he's playing. Lisandro Martinez, we've seen his great passing ability this season, and he wants a goalkeeper that can complement that. And the best available right now is probably David Raya. David De Gea still produces that great save on a match day. He still produces that great save quite regularly, really. But David Raya, it looks like Erik ten Hag's really interested in him. There are other options around Europe as well. But I think David Raya is really that option, that obvious option. And we know he's leaving Brentford in the summer. He's refused to sign that contract extension at Brentford. We know he's leaving. So maybe he's the best option from Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. So Manchester United fans, Erik ten Hag seems to have 2 massive options at striker that he could go for in this summer. Those options are Victor Osimhen and Harry Kane. They're his biggest options, and they're probably the most suited to Manchester United. They both fill that superstar quota that's even more likely to be necessary, say, if a new owner comes in, which, I mean, check out our shorts on our Manchester Evening News YouTube channel on the 2 most likely prospective owners, Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But that superstar signing up front is probably where Manchester United are going to focus this summer. And the 2 biggest options are Kane and Osimhen. They're both very different profiles of striker, but they've got very similar stats this season. Victor Osimhen scored 21 goals in the Serie A, and Harry Kane has scored 21 goals in the Premier League, which makes him second in the list behind Haaland, but Haaland's been ridiculous this season. So, I mean, being second behind Haaland can never be a bad thing. In Serie A, Osimhen's leading the goal-scoring charts. He's made a nasty partnership with Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. Victor Osimhen's not quite the finished article yet. He's only 24 years old, and he is a bit more injury-prone than Harry Kane. He had a massive injury when he was young at Wolfsburg, which meant he had to drop into the Belgian league and work his way back up. Whereas Harry Kane has been quite solidly fit for his entire career, really. Harry Kane is, however, the finished article, pretty much. You're guaranteed at least 20 goals from him a season, barring any massive injuries. He will score, and he will score important goals in big situations for Manchester United. He might be available for such as low a price, I can't believe I'm saying this, but as low a price as 100 million from Spurs, as long as it's paid in one sort of instalment, which would be a ridiculous deal for a striker of his talents. He is only 29, and he's not really that reliant on pace. He's not really injury prone, so maybe his age is not really that big a factor, and he'll be able to do a job for Manchester United up front for a longer time than most 29-year-olds would be able to. Victor Osimhen's only 24, so he's not quite the finished article just yet, but maybe he would be a really good option for Erik ten Hag to sort of build into the squad, make the squad his own, put his own spin on the squad, and sort of focus on that sort of pace. He plays a lot more similar to sort of Anthony Martial. So sort of breaking the lines, making those runs, getting involved in a bit of the build-up play, but mainly being that last man on the defender. And that might be really important for what Erik ten Hag wants to. Make sure you let us know in the comments who you would prefer to see at Manchester United. It was rumoured that Erik ten Hag would look to bring in another right-back, but, I mean, can you really complain this season? Diogo Dalot was fantastic before the World Cup, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka's been really good since. So, I mean, the options there are really Jeremy Frimpong looks like a real finished article at right-back, but he's still young as well. But he could come straight into that first team. He's really attacking based to balance out Shaw a bit more on the left. And he plays as a wing-back currently for Bayer Leverkusen. But he is Dutch. There is that connection there. He's got that European experience, so maybe he'd be a good option there. And the other option is Ivan Fresneda from Rayo Vallecano. Fresneda's links are there for Manchester United, but he's only 18. He'd come in and he'd probably play understudy to Diogo Dalot, which might be really helpful if Erik ten Hag has decided Diogo Dalot is his right back for the future. Diogo Dalot's only young as well himself, so realistically any competition brought in at right back would be just competition for Diogo Dalot. Last summer, Manchester United's big deal was a midfielder. They didn't end up managing to get their number one target in Frenkie de Jong, but they did get Christian Eriksen, who's played a really, really vital role, and he's actually done really well this season. And he's played a lot more football than I thought he would, especially with Manchester United being still in all competitions. He is now injured, however, and there's really not that depth there, which we saw by Marcel Sabitzer's last-minute signing in the January transfer window. So maybe Erik ten Hag will look to strengthen midfield again. Frenkie de Jong still could be an option, and quite a good option, I must say, at that. He's a talented footballer, Frenkie de Jong, and we saw it against Barcelona in the Europa League a couple of weeks ago. Frenkie de Jong really does bring something different to that side that sort of no other midfielders in world football do. Some more understated options in midfield are current Porto and ex-Liverpool midfielder Marco Grujic, who's really proven his worth at Porto since joining in the summer on permanently, and Moises Caicedo from Brighton, who has just signed that new contract, but I feel like that's a marketing ploy off Brighton to make him really make sure they get his value worth after they rejected bids from Arsenal and Chelsea in the January transfer window. The wind has just picked up here in Manchester, so if you can hear any interference, I'm sorry about that. But Eduardo Camavinga could really be a massive, massive chance for Erik ten Hag to really push the Manchester United midfield into the next generation. He's been fantastic for Real Madrid in so limited appearances. It's so hard for him to displace Toni Kroos and Luka Modric from that Real Madrid midfield, so maybe he'd be a real good option. As for Erik ten Hag's other choices as a Manchester United boss this summer, we have full summer to sort of build that squad and really get his scouts looking at the people now, whilst the season still has something to play for across Europe, really. You're looking at young talent. Evan Ferguson from Brighton's really been fantastic in recent weeks. Maybe he would be a good signing, sort of young striker, make himself at home at Manchester United and really be one for the future. But I can see Erik ten Hag really bringing in some young talents, focusing on maybe a bit of youth rather than just experienced players, so that he can sort of build his side to last him in the future as well. Because I think we all know, don't we, Manchester United fans, that Erik ten Hag will be here for a long while, and I personally think he's deserved it already. He's been fantastic at Manchester United, and I think we should trust him. Most of his transfers he's got right. Let us know what you think in the comments, Manchester United fans. Make sure you check out this week's Manchester is Red podcast on Friday, where we have an exclusive with Lyndon Arthur. Make sure you check out the Manchester Evening News. Subscribe, comment, like, share our YouTube channel. It really helps. It'd be much appreciated on my end. And see you next time.